here is safe. Don't you see what's happening?
We've lived through these Turkish threats before.
Threats? They want us dead. I have to get us out of here before there's no time left. Trust me.
Welcome back to Harbaugh. That was a clip from the upcoming film The Promise, starring Oscar Isaac as an Armenian medical student whose life is upturned by World War I. And Christian Bale, who plays an Associated Press journalist reporting on the Armenian genocide. Let's watch.
Mr. Myers, I am Faruk Pasha, commander of this region. What is the Associated Press doing here, Mr. Myers?
Reporting on the war.
There is no war here. Merely the evacuation of the civilian population to a safer region. A Turkish official, a man of unshakable humanity and courage, informed us that Faruk Pasha, a general notorious for barbarism, has been instructed by the highest authorities to spare no village. Are these words your fabrications, or the words of some lying Turkish traitor? Prove to me that you did not fabricate these words. Give me the name of the high-ranking Turkish official. I will confirm he gave you this information and release you.
No.
Well, the movie will be in the theaters on Friday this week and draws attention to the mass killing and deportation of over 1 million Armenians in the Ottoman Empire during World War I. Turkey, by the way, denies the genocide. Joining me right now is Christian Bale, who starred in movies like The Dark Knight Rises, The Fighter, love that movie, and American Hustle, a great movie. Oscar Isaac is known for his role in Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and my friend John Prendergast is the co-founder of the Enough Project, which seeks to end genocide. Mr. Bale, thank you for joining us. I want to ask you, what attracted you to a movie about something that so few Americans are even aware of?
Just that fact, actually. I was really embarrassed to admit that I wasn't aware of it either. I mean, 1.5 million people slaughtered. And I was learning about it like many Americans and people around the world probably were when it was approaching the 100th anniversary. And as I was reading the script, I was watching on the news the Yazidis who are being surrounded and slaughtered on the mountain by ISIS. And I'm reading the script about Armenians stuck on the mountain of Musa Dagh being slaughtered as well, and thinking how tragically relevant this still is today.
Let me go, John, my friend. What's the story here? Because tell me about the Armenian Holocaust. I know it was a big issue in Congress when I worked there. The lobbyists worked like hell for the Turkish government to keep this quiet. Why do they want to keep it quiet?
Well, I think that it's the biggest stain on Turkey's conscience and Turkey's history. In the beginning of World War I, the Ottoman Empire at the time felt that the Armenian population was siding with the Russians and decided, as a measure to destroy the fifth column, let's just exterminate the Armenian population. And through massacres of the men, through mass rape of the women, and through these death marches into the Syrian deserts, they accomplished their goal for the most part.
Well, why is it so quiet that Christian and people like me, I know it from politics, but people, you don't hear people, they talk about the Holocaust in World War II. You don't hear much about the World War I Holocaust.
The word genocide hadn't even existed. It wasn't even created when this happened and began in 1915 in Turkey, in modern-day Turkey. And so we didn't have a word for it. Yeah. There wasn't any concept that focused on the idea that a population could be annihilated, could be exterminated on the basis of their identity, in this case, their religion.
Let me go to Oscar about the importance to the story. To you, sir.
Well, likewise, I didn't know anything about it when I first got the script. And as I read it and was horrified and educated about it and learned about it, I just felt like it was an incredibly important thing to do. And then to now, be releasing the movie and to know that 100% of the proceeds of the film go to charity, to humanitarian causes, to creating the UCLA Promise Institute, which is incredible. I think they just got a gift of $20 million. To be a part of something like that it's incredible.
Christian, let me ask you about today in journalism. It's you know, Trump spends his hours, his minutes, his tweets at dawn attacking the mainstream media. I mean, the real media, not opinion, but news people, trashing the major journals of this country. What do you think it says about the need for journalism in crisis moments like this Holocaust you covered in the movie?
There's no more urgency for it, is there, than now? That actually really became relevant during the filming and after as well, in this sort of post-truth era. You know, this, I think, hopefully it will inspire incredible journalism, because people will start to recognise how important it is to a free press, is to a democracy. And the fact that with the Armenian genocide, there was so little documentation because they restricted access by journalists. They denied, it was illegal to take photographs. It was a German soldier, Armin Wegener, who got most of the photo documentation out there. But despite the fact that there were many US missionaries whose accounts all corroborated each other about the genocide, there were no real consequences afterwards. And the tragic thing is that may well have provoked the numerous genocides that we've seen since then, you know, with Ukraine and with the Holocaust and with Rwanda, and then with the, you know, Yazidis, as I was talking about. But to me, the real question is, well, what can be done? And like Oscar was saying, there's a fantastically philanthropic move by the filmmakers, and I've never come across this before, to give 100% of the proceeds to charity. But now, please, over to John, and he's not a used car salesman like me, just kind of flogging a film. He's really out there making change in the world. What can be done by people watching?
John, tell me about the Holocaust in our recent history. Where are they? In Sudan? Where are we talking about? Where people try to wipe out another tribe or ethnic group?
Well, I think in Iraq we have the Yazidis. We have South Sudan now, which is the world's next genocide potentially, and in Sudan, in Darfur, and in the Nuba Mountains. And the issue is really what can be done, as Christian said. And in a lot of cases, we're not going to send in the 82nd Airborne, but what we can do is take a chapter from the counterterrorism efforts. There is an incredibly exhaustive effort to chase the assets of terrorist networks. We could do the same thing with folks that are war criminals who are committing atrocities, who are moving all their finances into the international system. They're stealing the wealth of these countries. In Armenia, it was the same thing. They stole the wealth of the Armenians. It wasn't just a political move, it was also a financial one, massive asset transfer. In all of these genocides, you see the same thing. People steal the wealth of those that are victimized, and they put it into the international financial system. That's a vulnerability of those people, and we don't go after it, and I think that's the next frontier.
You know, Oscar, I've been familiar a little bit, like we all were, with Hotel Rwanda, which pointed to the Holocaust, the actual genocide that was going on in Rwanda. And I was thinking, this is different than shooting at the other guy across a field or something, or from a trench to another trench. You're shooting at another people and trying to kill them because they are that other people, not because they're warriors.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you hear, it's unfortunate, but you hear a lot of similar kind of word usage nowadays. You know, the thing that Turkey did at the time, it said, now it's Turkey for the Turks. And they decided that these ethnic minorities were the enemy. They were others. They were not entitled to the same citizenship as the Turks at the time. And you hear similar rhetoric nowadays. So it is a strange thing to see happen again and again and again.
Christian Bale, I have a question for you, because I've become something of a student of a guy you're going to have to study to play, and that's Dick Cheney. Cheney, that's his family name. He doesn't care we call him Cheney. How are you getting ready for that? He's sort of an interesting guy. He's not one of my best heroes. What do you make of him?
Look at that spitting image, isn't it? Amazing.
No, but you can do any accent. You can do Wyoming. I'm sure you can do a Wyoming
Chris,
accent.
we're not sure yet. We're trying to decide, do we make a film about Dick Cheney or Lon Chaney? Man with 1,000 faces. So
I think you could get I think the original Lon Chaney, but not Lon Chaney Jr. Get the real bad guy. Anyway, I don't wish you well with that character, but it'll be a lot of fun playing the villain. It always is. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
The movie's called The Promise. It's coming out Friday in area theaters. Christian Bale, a great guy. Oscar Isaac, just mentioned, great guy. Thank you, John Prendergast.
And Oscar about to become a dad.
Congratulations. That's another role that's an interesting. That's the real one. When we return, let me